you poop your pants too, and you know it. Today, sometimes I just crack myself up with my titles. I'm not gonna lie. How many of you are clicked on this just because you're curious about what I could possibly be talking about today? You never really listen to the show, but you just had to click on it. I don't blame you. I'm kind of curious myself where I'm going to go with this. I promise there's a point to this. Welcome to How to Build a Tent. My name is Matt Williams. Thank you for listening to the show, sharing the show with a friend, subscribing, all that good stuff. I really appreciate it. You can email me, Matt, at howtobuildatent.com. I need to rotate my chair. Find me on all the social media sites, How to Build a Tent, including Parler, where I am not censored. Appreciate that. Thanks, guys. Become a member over at FLFnetwork.com. Support us, claim the Lordship of Jesus in every area of life. Become a member. Go get your $100 off the conference coming up. It's going to be pivotal. It's going to be amazing. And I think we're going to look back at this and it being significant in history of how impactful this is going to be in the time that we live. So I hope to see you there. It's basically what I'm trying to say. All right, you poop your pants too. I was talking about something I heard from a movie, actually. I think I might have even said Lone Survivor, but that's not the movie it was called. It was the movie with Chris Kyle. And there's this scene where Chris is a kid and his dad is talking to him about being there's people that are sheep, there's people that are wolves, and then you guys are going to be sheepdogs. And the sheepdogs have the characteristics of a wolf, but they protect the sheep and fight the wolves that are coming to inflict harm on the sheep. And that just really stuck with me, something that I try to emulate, something that I also try to instill in my son and any future sons that God may bless me with. And one of you listeners, I don't know if you listen to this show, but you listen to Reformed Jellicle on Parler, said, oh, that's from the book on combat. And that was written by Lieutenant Colonel David Grossman. And by the way, first audiobook, and I absolutely love it. I don't think I'm ever going to go back. I'm actually going to be able to start reading books again. And I'm going to, be able to still do everything else I need to do. So that's going to be great. But anyways, it's neither here nor there. There's my favorite saying again. Oh, haven't used that one in a while. Love it. On combat, the psychology and the physiology of deadly conflict and war and peace. And he goes on and talks about the sheepdog thing, even though I'm not there yet. But he talked about in this beginning chapter, and I thought it was so interesting, and this is absolutely a fascinating book so far to me, that they estimate, based on a survey, where 1/5 of the respondents, I think it was either World War II, I believe, where they admitted to pooping their pants in conflict. And it's not a shameful thing. It's not something that you do because you're a coward or anything like that. But he goes on to talk about how it's actually how your body was created. God created us to relieve ourselves of everything that we are holding in our intestines so that we can be prepared for the stressful situation. And they even talked about it in 9/11, where most of the first responders did the same. And this one guy was confused because he was the only one who didn't poop his pants. And it was because he went to the bathroom right before it happened. And so he didn't have anything to poop. And you might be thinking, oh, this is so gross. And why are you talking about it? Are you just trying to be funny? Are you just like really struggling for topics to think about? No, but I have to admit, as a man, even talking about poop is still funny to me. Never gonna grow out of that, I don't think. But what was interesting to me, and something that I think is relevant to us, even if we're not going to be in those stressful situations, is that they have in the military, it totally makes sense, this machismo, as they call it in Espanol, or this macho mentality. And it happens a lot in other places as well, in different industries, different occupations, where you have to be this tough guy. And nobody wants to admit that they've done something like poop their pants or peed their pants. And so they had to take the survey and extrapolate from it. 1/5 of the people admitted to it, pooping their pants. And then they took out the people that were in the military, but they weren't in combat. And then they were factoring and trying to figure out, okay, how many people would likely lie about it and not admit it. And they say because of the movies, because of in further future studies, that because of the movies and all of the images we have of what a warrior is, no one ever poops their pants, right? The heroes never go into combat and poop their pants and then go do something heroic, right? If anything, it is the coward in the movies that does it. Again, that's how God created us to do this, to get rid of those things so that we can be better prepared for the stressful situation. But just because of our culture, how we've been trained, how we've been indoctrinated in the propaganda, positive or negative, of what a hero is, that's definitely not part of it in our movies and our entertainment and what we read. And so they had to take that 1/5, take out the people that weren't in combat, and then extrapolate how many people probably lied and just don't want to admit that they did do that going into combat. And they think it's around 50% of people do this. And at least that was the guess of the time. And why this is applicable is that we all have our poop our pants moments. And we've talked about it hundreds of shows ago, imposter syndrome, where we feel like there are these things that if we would just admit, we would be exposed as imposters or exposed as frauds, not being who we think we should be, who people see that we are. Oh my gosh, these people have this image of me. I can't let that down, or I can't let them see that I'm not that. And we see this over and over again, especially in leaders. The higher you get built up, the higher you are in your position, you have this fear that you are going to be found out, that someone's going to find out that you pooped your pants. Now, obviously, I'm not literally talking about pooping your pants, although it could be that if you are in the military, if you are a policeman, if you are a firefighter. And I just want to say there is no shame in that. God created you that way. And that's one of the blessings of being a Christian and understanding that God created our bodies in a fearful, wonderful way where we don't have to be ashamed and we don't have to be embarrassed about how God created us, because he did that for a reason, and it's a good reason, and we should glory in it, even if it's something gross like pooping your pants. But by the way, not from stressful situations. This is probably TMI, and this is, so if you are not a TMI person, being lactose intolerant myself and a fine cheese connoisseur, I have had those opportunities in my life to experience what I'm talking about right now. And I'm not going to get any more graphic than that, but just a little full disclosure for you. It's embarrassing and it's no fun. I'll tell you that much right now. But it's not something that we need to be embarrassed about in any of those things, because God made our bodies this way and it's beautiful, and we should celebrate how God made us because there is purpose for it. But there's other things too beyond that. The symbolism of it is, what is your poop your pants situation? Where is it that you feel like, if, oh my goodness, if people found out I did this, or if people found out I really don't know how I had to do this, or I'm just figuring it out as I go, or I didn't know what I was doing back then and I can't, that there's that fear. And this is where I think as Christians, we can overcome that fear and make not only our relationships better, but the world better, is by being humble enough to bring those things out in the open and be exposed. And that's so hard. And it's, oh my goodness, it's just that feeling of that, finding out that you are not who you think you are, or you made a mistake, and having people see you for who you were. Oh, it's painful. It's so painful. But just imagine going back to this military situation, where if the people that all of these people, all these military, the Army, Marines, Navy, had people that they looked up to and respected and thought, man, that's a warrior I want to be like. That's somebody in their profession. They do their job well. They operate well in their field. And they had the humility to go to the younger guys and be like, hey, man, you've never been in combat before. You've never been in these stressful situations before. This is most likely going to happen to you. And it's okay. It's happened to me. how much better will those people perform in those stressful situations? Having that, one, being prepared for it to happen, two, understanding that when it happens, it's okay. Other people are going through that too. And three, having a plan and having a strategy for how to operate in that situation. And then having the culture of your platoon or division or whatever it is be able to come through that together, work through it together. And there's many other things that this could be besides just literally pooping your pants. But there's many times where we can come down and humble ourselves, humiliate ourselves for other people that will benefit them and benefit the organization as a whole. So that's something I want you to think about. What are ways that you can humiliate yourself by exposing? Now, I'm not saying just be reckless, open your book to like say everything that you've ever done wrong and just admit that you don't know what you're doing and you don't have the skills for your position. I'm not saying you should do all those things, but there are going to be opportunities where you're going to have a choice whether to build someone up, to disciple them, to edify them in whatever area, your career, the church, in your small group, in your family, with your kids, even you could admit to your son or to your daughter that, hey, I made mistakes here. Don't do this. Or, hey, I went through this. You're going to go through this too. It's okay. I'm here for you. I want to help you through it. I want to give you advice. There's going to be times where we choose to die to ourselves and humiliate ourselves to edify and build up others. And the more we do that, the greater leaders we become. The more effective we are, the more Christ-like we are, the more loving we become. There is no greater love than to lay down your life for a friend. It's true physically, it's true emotionally, it's true spiritually, it's true in every sense of the word. It just hit my camera cord, and that's why it shook for those watching live. Do you want to be somebody who's more effective? Die to yourself to build others up. And I guarantee you the loyalty, the respect that you get from that, and you might get some jokes and you might get some hard times, but hey, you know what? When people can give each other a hard time, that builds relationships when it's done in love, when it's done in a friendship kind of way. Don't be scared of that. Don't be scared of being made fun of. Don't be scared of making fun of yourself. We've all pooped our pants, and it's okay. Talk to you tomorrow. God.